So you can see that Houston is developing, and Mary Ann talked about several of them, 5 that you'll want to see if you're available that Friday morning, December 5th. But we work with 50 companies at any one particular time. And I mentioned some of the Eileen Collins at the beginning, the astronaut. We're creating more Eileen Collins. We're creating more Fred, the guy who invented the pencil. We're trying to create more Welcome Wilsons is what we're trying to do. And we've had some success doing it, and we're going to have more success. And we invite, if you're interested, to be part of what we do. Carl, you told us we had to a little bit after 1 o'clock. We purposely, Mary Ann and I, put some time aside to answer questions. There's a lot going on in technology in Houston right now. That's why if you look at this picture, think about Houston, no limits. No limits. So please, are you ready? Yes, please.
Mary Ann, can you spell Zach? Z-A-C-Y-S, I believe it is. Maybe it's C-K-Y. If you go to nurturedbydesign.com,
That's the right
and
place.
if you could just type in Zachy, I'm sure there's not too many products called Zachy.
That's a great story because Zachy was very premature, and that's what motivated his mother to do that. She's a researcher, and that's been proven with research to actually enhance the development of premature babies. Because a premature baby isn't just a small baby, it actually isn't done being cooked. And the Zachy really makes a difference in how their mind develops. Bob, go ahead, please.
Walter, it's a multi-part question. You said you have about 50 companies each year. How many graduate on average each year, and what is your revenue and sustainable model throughout that whole process?
You know, you can tell he's the guy who spent some time at the business school. Questions like that. Our typical client is with us about 3 years. So this is not
So that's a rolling 50 that you have.
So it's a rolling 50 that we have. We have 86 graduates. Those 86 graduates have enjoyed about $1.6 billion of funding and have created nearly 5,000 jobs. Bob could have told you that if you would have just asked him. But in terms of the Houston Technology Center, you know, we were founded 15 years ago by Paul Frizon, whose shoulders we stand on every day. You know, he still works with us part-time. We're very grateful for that. We have grown to the point where we have 24 full-time staff. I think that was part of your question. 4 of those people are resident in Building 45 on the Johnson Space Center campus. And our total budget, including in-kind, is about $5 million a year. I did a calculation once on the back of an envelope. She's really true. I really am a math guy. Drives my wife, by the way, nuts like that. But we were at a gala. In fact, it may have been we honored welcome at one of the galas. I think it was at that gala welcome. I was sitting there. Someone asked me a question. And for every dollar that a donor spent for a table at our gala, created $167 of economic activity. Wow. Economic activity. Did that cover it?
Good leverage, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm also blessed to work with some amazing colleagues. And joining me for our remarks is going to be Mary Ann Maldonado. Mary Ann is the Vice President of Client Services for the Houston Technology Center. She has a long career in the energy industry. She worked also with both UK and Canadian trade. She joined us 7 years ago this week, and she has made it possible for HTC to accomplish what we've done with our clients. Mary Ann, thank you for joining me. What we're going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the context in which the Houston Technology Center works, which is the context that this great community has. And Mary Ann, who works day in and day out with the companies, the clients we work with, she's the one who can much better describe for you those companies that are changing the world, those hot companies that Carl and GLO has asked us to talk about. So let me get the clicker and
So many of you know that Houston has in its DNA, at the very core of what we've done and grown here in Houston, a very strong sense of entrepreneurship. So this afternoon we're going to talk a little bit about, as Walter's alluded to, the DNA, the culture of which Houston was grown up here, and how it originated with strong entrepreneurs many, many years ago, and then also to introduce to you some of the technology companies that are in the sectors that we represent: energy, life science, nanotechnology, aerospace, and IT.
You know, Mary Ann, this is a great day for us to be together in Houston, Texas. And Welcome was talking about his 70th anniversary from high school. Today is the birthday of the first woman shuttle pilot and the first woman shuttle commander. In 1956, it's her birthday. And today is also the anniversary of the patenting of the first permanent, totally erasable instrument, right, that doesn't require any power to make it work. What do you think that might have been? 1895. It is
The pencil!
the pencil.
Wow.
And I still use the pencils. You know, but think about that.
High tech.
Think about what that is this is someone invented a simple product that actually used advanced technology to use the ability to create lead, put it in the body, put an eraser at the end of it, patented that device, and every one of you have used it. So, you know, if he was alive, he'd actually be a little older than Welcome. So let's talk about the context for our community. These are names you all recognize. You may not know that they're all entrepreneurs. Starting with the Allen brothers.
And don't forget Charlotte.
Charlotte Allen, the wife of one of the brothers, was the person who put up the money that made Houston happen. And from the banks of Buffalo Bayou to what we have today, the great city of Houston, Texas, they got it started. So this is in our DNA. William Marsh Rice, where would we be? Talking about anniversaries. Last year, Rice celebrated his 100th anniversary. A wonderful university with a lot of intellectual property that we gain out of it. Monroe D. Anderson. We wouldn't have a Texas Medical Center if it wasn't for Monroe D. Anderson, another entrepreneur who created what is now recognized as one of the top 2 cancer hospitals in the world. Jesse Jones. People know Jesse Jones's political history and his amazing career during the regime of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, but he was also an entrepreneur. And this muddy little bayou was turned into the Houston Ship Channel thanks to Jesse Jones. It wouldn't have happened. Now, I should let Welcome tell you the history of Hugh Roy Cullen, a wildcatter that turned what was just a small school into what is quickly becoming a powerhouse, Houston's Energy Institute, and a terrific job thanks to your recruiting of the new couture. So we've watched the University of Houston grow and prosper, and again, we would not have had that without Hugh Roy Cullen. George and Herman Brown, the Brown Convention Center. The Gulf Freeway, they built the Gulf Freeway. Over drinks someday I'll tell you the story about how the Gulf Freeway got named. But it was the first major freeway in Texas, and it's a way many of us get to Galveston when we go down to enjoy Galveston. Now here's one you may not know, Ed Rochelle. Ed Rochelle was a farmer, a rancher, and he built up a ranch and created a foundation for the arts, for science, and for education. A terrific guy. Thanks to Ed Rochelle and that foundation, every year, Mary Ann and I are able to put together the Innovation Conference and Showcase. It is the largest gathering of emerging technology companies from the Houston area that takes place annually. So, great thanks to Ed Rochelle. For you Aggies, John White is the chairman of the foundation of the Rotary Association. George Herman, talk about Herman Park and what he was able to do with his entrepreneurship. Uh, and that's Herman Hospital the way it used to be, and now that's Herman Hospital today. Again, an integral part. There wouldn't be a medical center if it wasn't for Monroe D. Anderson and for Mr. Herman, because it was their philanthropy that made all this happen. And there's, of course, Herman Park. Now, someone we lost more recently, or we lost too soon, is Dan Duncan. Dan Duncan started with, I believe, $10,000 in a pickup truck, and when he died a couple of years ago, he was a multi-billionaire, the richest man in Houston, Texas. A wonderful philanthropist. We've talked about the medical center, and Dan is a huge supporter of the medical center. Many other things, including the Museum of Natural Science. My 4-year-old grandson, since we're bragging about grandsons, they only have one. My 4-year-old grandson loves to go to that dinosaur center right up there, and he has a great time. And again, Dan Duncan's philanthropy, the medical center, and so many different things the arts do. Another one, you think of Bob McNair, the guy who owns the sports team. He was an entrepreneur. He started doing cogeneration. That was an energy breakthrough when he did it on the Northeast in the New York, New Jersey area. And with his success as a philanthropist, he is a major contributor to Baylor. Speaking of my grandson, you might see the McNair elephant exhibit at the Houston Zoo. That's another McNair deal. And of course, he brought to Houston, Texas, he brought NFL back to Houston, Texas. And we had a really nice game, I thought, on Sunday. I don't know how the rest of you feel, but we're heading in the right direction. Some other current entrepreneurs you may not know about. One is Michael Holthouse. He, successful IT entrepreneur, became very wealthy, lives in River Oaks, but he is now helping, and I believe this last May, 100,000 kids learned about entrepreneurship by creating lemonade stands and selling lemonade. So if you've heard of Lemonade Day, we can be grateful for the DNA of entrepreneurship in our community that's created it. Now there's a couple that are still coming along that they haven't yet reached the point where they can do philanthropy. And one example is Ellis and Sammy Sawyer, who created a company called Rebellion Photonics. It was created at the Houston Technology Center based on some great technology and our support on the business side of things. When the Wall Street Journal this year did the inaugural, the very first Startup of the Year contest nationally, they got bombarded with applications from Massachusetts, from California, from Research Triangle Park, and around the country. And you would think somebody from that city would have won that event. This company, a Houston-based company, was the inaugural Startup of the Year, and Allison and her partner, the researcher, had a full-page picture in the print copy of the Wall Street Journal with the beautiful artwork that they do for that. So, congratulations to Houston. You know, I'm talking about the DNA. So many people in Houston volunteer and support us. Welcome has been a help to us, as just one example. We work with Ken over at U of H on a regular basis.
Bob Sternenberg in the back is one of our energy advisors.
That's right, Bob. Thank you for your support. Let me just talk about one more. Joel has something called Blue Energy Solar Wind, a company that's trying to make it. Whoops, you're getting ahead of me. Blue Energy Solar Wind. It's a combination. Think about this: combining solar cells with wind in a sculpture that looks like a piece of art. You know, at your next development, welcome, you're going to have one of those things powering it. You need one of those things, because if it's usually when it's cloudy, it's windy, and if it's sunny, you got the solar cells, so it's a great deal.
This was also tested at A&M for you Aggies in their wind tunnels. So great kudos on test results from A&M on this type of technology.
You know, why are these companies? Why do we think, and why is Mary Ann going to be able to tell you about the companies to watch? It's, again, because of the community we live in. We have an amazing information technology infrastructure here supporting the energy industry. You can't do genomics unless you know really IT really well. You can't be a Johnson Space Center unless you can do IT. The area where Mary Ann started, the energy industry, everybody recognizes us as the energy capital. And we are so grateful for the energy companies 20 energy companies are substantial supporters, and they contribute senior executives that work with us day in and day out. Johnson Space Center is still the largest R&D facility in the NASA thing, you know, and they truly have smart people. You might say they're rocket scientists. In the area of chemistry, we have two different things. Life science. The Texas Medical Center is the largest medical center in the world, and the new leadership at the Texas Medical Center is taking commercialization to a new level. At the same time, Rice University is where nanotechnology was vetted and celebrated the Nobel Prize that was awarded to them. It's the invention of nanotechnology 26 years ago now. So nanotechnology is changing the way materials behave. The nano age is probably going to be equivalent to what the information age has been in the past. So that gives us Houston of today.
Great. So how many of you have never heard of the Houston Technology Center? Okay, well, we work with and have the pleasure to work with technology companies that are emerging in this area. I'm going to tell you about some of the hot tech companies to watch here in Houston. And this represents just a few of the clients and graduates that we have in our community that are in various stages of early stage development, and we're helping them commercialize their technologies to develop better strategies to be attractive to investors and to penetrate the market. So here are a few of those. The first one I'm going to talk to you about is integrated bionics. Okay? Concussions. In girls soccer, there are more concussions in girls soccer than there are in all sports in the U.S. So identifying and impact injuries real time on the field is critical for the health of the soccer player, for the coach, and for the business liability of universities. There's going to be one. Let me do this.
I guess that means women are working.
Maybe that's what that
Means men are more hard.
What you'll see is when they have impact injuries, they're very prevalent, and it's hard for coaches to detect these on the field, to pull the player off the field at the right time and to ensure that their health is maintained through the course of the game and afterward. Integrated Bionics has put together the Heads Up headband. It's a headband. It's cool. It's green. It glows. And what is inside is a sensor, a detection system that will help in real time on the field detect impacts of head injuries going forward without the game. It also will help coaches. It allows the technology to be tracked throughout the course of the game too, which is almost as important, more important than anything else. You have a one-time impact that's important to detect, but the impact over the course of the game and in future games is going to be very important for coaches to identify as well. So while she's getting that forward, we'll talk just about a few of those ongoing. So Integrated Bionics has the Heads Up headband. They are in commercial early stage development right now. They have a prototype built, and they're going to be taking this into the girls soccer market first, so be looking for them. The next I want to tell you about is Pipe Wrap. This is a company that does emergency pipeline repair. We've all seen the news in the past couple of weeks when pipelines are gouged, when trucks back into them, when they age, when they have, when they just, due to aging, they just deteriorate. This is a huge problem. There's hundreds of millions of miles of pipeline all over the U.S. So identifying the opportunities for looking and remediating pipeline repair very, very quickly and in a way that the technology will help build up a structural integrity more stronger than the original pipeline. That's real important, and that's what Pipe Wrap has done. They've taken nanotechnology, put it into a suite of technologies where you can do emergency repair quickly, and it's solid and secure. You don't have to go back and fix that afterward.
Is that limited just to energy, or can they do water, sewer?
They can do water, sewer, municipalities, structural, bridges.
That's cool.
and so we can move ahead. Thank you so much for making that happen. We're talking about pipe wrap. So here's the problems. You can go to the next one. That pipelines incur. So, you know, there's corrosion, there's just structural reinforcement that need done. This is a company that we worked with for a couple of years. The entrepreneur came to us. She was very naive in understanding how the value of her company. She was already generating revenue. We helped her build the right strategy. She was acquired earlier this year. So we can go ahead. Here's another company. We don't just work in conventional upstream oil and gas. We work also with companies that are in the renewable clean space. Hydro Green Energy. Hydro Green has taken a modular patented technology, I'll go to the next slide, using the power of water, put their modular patented technology and are generating electricity into the grid on the Mississippi right now. Reasoning Mind, this is a wonderful technology. This is a nonprofit organization that has developed a type of technology that helps students not only learn math, but understand math. So if you'll go to the next slide, they take a different style of approach in their curriculum. And go to the next, and if you click on that, we're going to watch a short video. Or maybe we will.
Come on, let's get going. 60 seconds, 60 seconds.
In this second grade Bamwell Elementary Computer Lab at Spring ISD, they don't waste any time getting started.
20 seconds to get logged in, 20 seconds.
Starting at my place and look up your tubing accuracy.
The pace is brisk in his third grade classroom at Hirsch Elementary as well.
As the students come in, we operate off Google Chrome, as you can tell, in a classroom, not a lab. I have 2 students per class that are in charge of the Chromes, and then 1 hands out the head.
Everybody look up your objective.
The students are logging into an online program called Reasoning Mind. It's enhancing math education at several Spring ISD elementary schools.
Yeah, you welcome. Unwrap it. Clean your mouth. Do it. Blow it up. Pop it. See? Stay on your face. All right, this works. I feel like they're learning more independent strategy. It allows the students to really take ownership in their learning. It builds their self-confidence when they're able to move through the theories and through that different levels and objectives. I just think that's great.
To answer the question right here. The ones that I don't get right, I write them in my journal, and I read the machine research.
The genie is a big part of Reasoning Mind. He makes quite an entrance when the problem is answered correctly and provides help if the answer is wrong.
You write it down so we have to learn things that you don't know. These stars are for the streets.
At Hirsch Elementary, Savannah and Julianne are high up on the wall that shows the number of correct Reasoning Mind answers they've gotten in a row.
Up there, 157. Mine is 94.
Come on. Go ahead, Jacoby.
I think the kids like the star on the wall. They love it.
Good job.
When we go to guided study, I like how when we try to figure it out and then we interview it kind of helps me, and I like how we learn a lot very quickly from it.
The mathematical vocabulary on Reasoning Mind is just, it's wonderful. The definition, it really breaks down everything.
Plus then means that you subtract, and then you said more than means what? That you're at, okay. So you went back and you found those key vocabulary words within the story. In the context plays. Good job.
In both classrooms, the teachers are able to see the successes and the struggles.
The greatest thing I've seen in this is several of my students were below level in some of these topics. So what Reasoning Mind did was they saw that and they dropped it back to the 2nd grade level. And the kids got to work on extra addition and subtraction that they needed. Or 1-step problem solving before the 2-step. So even though it starts at a level here, it was able to drop down where the child was and then bring them right back up to where they were. It was awesome. It was awesome. Meanwhile, it's still rewarding the child for every question they get correct. They don't see it as a punishment. They see it as, wow, I can do this. So it's building their confidence up.
Guys, we did meet our class goal of 85% today. At the end of the class period, we'll have our small celebration. Who has the highest streak, the highest point. Lisa and Grant got a 100% on this nose tag.
All right, well done. Awesome job.
In these Spring ISD classrooms, the teachers have teamed up with a special genie to make success in math a wish come true.
So you can see this is very, very helpful. They target 5th to 8th graders, and Walter is our resident math degreed individual at HTC. I'm going to have to go back and do some of this later this afternoon, because I'm not. And what it has done is, I don't know how many of you have sent your children to Sylvan or any sort of private academic teaching. This is taking that type of technology platform, putting it into the public school environment, so we really don't leave any child behind. Texas Energy Network. Now, I worked in the oil and gas industry for several years, and I got the pleasure of typing daily dueling reports. And forever, I would get these reports that said, they would call me and say, I can't send in my report. And I'd say, why? They'd say, because the rabbit chewed lines, the communication lines. Texas Energy Network is taking 4G LTE into those remote environments. Out in West Texas, if you've ever gone to a production site or a drilling site, you know, you're going to drive down a gravel road, you're going to drive down a little less graveled road, and you're going to drive down maybe a dirt path, and then a tree's going to be coming over you. So taking antiquated satellite technology and bringing it into the 21st century is what Texas Energy Network has done. They've taken their patented technology. They were acquired late last year by a company for over $20 million. So it was a great benefit for the industry and also for Texas Energy Network. Last but not least, we're going to talk about Nurtured by Design. This is the name of the company that is developing a suite of products, and you'll see the products on the right, called Zackies. Zackies are put together to help infant care development. What that means, I had a preemie. He was 29 weeks. He was 2 pounds when he was born. He stayed in the hospital 4 months. So Zackies provide an opportunity for me as the parent to drape them over my body, to gather my scent, and to be in the hospital when I can't be there. So this particular Zackie product was also recently recognized in the Toyota Ovation Awards. So Oprah works together with Toyota to recognize awards of individual contributions and of company contributions across the U.S. that really help on a personal basis develop individuals and develop new opportunities within communities. And so the Zackie product received this award earlier this year by Nurtured by Design. You can see Zachary, you want to go back just a second? You can see Zachary, he was the incentive for this mother to develop this particular product. And what this particular product also is, it's not just a beanbag pillow. It helps individual preemies develop better after they've come out of the NICU. They're not laying flat like you've seen on the previous slide. They're able to nurture them while they're still in the isolate or in their incubation area, so that they get a feel of being more comforted. So this is Nurtured by Design, and this is a commercial-ready product. If you have anyone who would like to purchase those, you can go online right now and purchase a Nurtured by Design Zackie.